So there is a land in southeastern region of Pakistan which has Karachi as its capital. This land is derived from the Sanskrit word Sindhu, a river that passes through both India and Pakistan. This land gave Hind to the world. Yes, I'm talking about Sindh. So let's first see the history of Sindh. The very first mention of Sindh was found in Mahabharata, where King Jayadratha fought against Lord Krishna. Then came the time of Indus Valley civilization, whose central location was Sindh province. The place boasted of highly cultured Hindu people with high standards of living and craftsmanship and a very well developed form of writing which still remains untouched. Very little is known about the religion of Indus Valley civilization and the one practiced in Sindh, but there have been an excavation of many seals with scripts inscribed in them. Some of them have been translated quite successfully and show that Mohenjo-daro was a beautifully planned Sindh city. It had public baths, brick building, and a very well planned drainage system that shows that the community lived in a delighted and organized manner. Hinduism was majorly practiced in Mohenjo-daro and Sindh, which seems clear from the temple rituals and ritualistic bathing done in the Great Bath. This is the reason many Hindu temples are characterized by a bathing pond close to them. The Great Bath in Mohenjo-daro is thus a proof of that. Other than this, excavations in the region have also found evidence of terracotta figurines depicting goddess images and a seal of Lord Shiva confirming that Hinduism was practiced during the Indus Valley Civilization era. Other than this, there are many sacred symbols and Hindu literature such as swastik and Om which have found widespread usage in the Harappa culture. One of Sindh's most authentic accounts can be recorded from the time when Alexander the Great conquered Sindh in 325 BCE. At this time as well, Sindh was ruled by a Hindu ruler, Raja Sahasi, whose race governed Sindh for over 2000 years. Hinduism was majorly practiced in this region, but with the entry of Chandragupta Maurya in 313 BCE, there was an entry of Buddhism as well. The Buddhist city of Siraj-e-Takri is still located in the upper part of Sindh. It has visible ruins in form of architectural remains that depicts the presence of Buddha culture. There was a revival of Hindu religion during the Gupta period, which then became a dominating religion in Sindh. It flourished all over India, especially in this region. There were buildings of many temples and shrines throughout this region. The Gupta Empire made Hinduism so popular in Sindh that it was regarded as a unifying force and as a means to attain personal salvation. But Buddhism also remained a popular religion and both of them were practiced peacefully. In all, religious freedom was exercised by guts in Sindh. The last ruler before the invasion of Muhammad bin Qasim in Sindh was Raja Dahir, a Hindu Brahmin. He had a significant role in opposing the invasion. What happened after Muhammad bin Qasim's invasion is a pretty sad story. An invading Islamic tyrant named Mir Shah threatened Sindhi Hindus to either embrace Islam or face the death. This was the beginning of forced conversions of Hindus by invaders. Sindhi Hindus prayed to water god for help. They fasted and prayed and sang devotional songs in praise of Lord Varuna. Their prayers were answered after 40 days. The water god promised that a divine child would be born in Naraspur who will save them from the tortures of Mir Shah. The divine child took birth in the womb of Mata Devki in form of Ratan Rao Lohana of Nasarpur, known as Udhiro Lal. In Sanskrit, Udhiro means the one who has sprung from waters. It is believed that the child was an incarnation of god Varuna. The child was later known as Saint Jhulelal as savior of Sindhi Hindus. Jhulelal transformed himself into a warrior and an old man who preached and reprimanded Mir Shah that Muslims and Hindus deserve the same religious freedom. But the peace didn't last long. Sindhi Hindus were murdered, raped, and displaced. They were forced to pay additional taxes for over 900 years. The current state of Sindh is very disturbing. Similar to Kashmiri Pandits massacre in Kashmir, Hindu Sindhis in the northwestern region of Indian subcontinent were killed and temples were destroyed. Libraries were burned and the knowledge and the history completely slaughtered. Sindhis were oppressed for over 1000 years. So people who comment about oppression remember that Sindhis have faced the worst humanitarian crisis which exists even to this day. I am thankful to India for accepting Hindu refugees from Sindh and I take pride in being a Hindu Sindhi living in India. Every single Sindhi Hindu living in India lost their dear ones during partition and I criticize those two lawyers for the same. I hope to see Sindh back in India. Why? Because Sindh and Hind cannot be separated. Jai Jhulelal, Jai Hind.